Right now at noon, fire crews looking into the cause of a house fire in the town of Westport. What we know about the investigation. Plus, it is day 6 of the government shutdown with no end in sight. How congressional leaders are reacting and the new CBS polling showing where Americans stand. This is News 3 Now at noon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Josh Brighter. Right now, investigators are trying to figure out what started a large house fire in the town of Westport. Dane County Communications says fire crews responded to the home on Tuscany Lane just off of Woodland Drive shortly after 6 last night. Some of those on site included the Cross Plains, Sun Prairie, and Waunakee fire departments. Thankfully, nobody was injured. Firefighters contained the blaze about 45 minutes after that first call. To Rock County we go, where an investigation is also underway into the cause of a fire at a vacant home. This is in the town of Newark. The Rock County Sheriff's Office says multiple departments responded to the fully engulfed home Sunday morning. Nobody was injured in that fire. The sheriff says the fire does not appear to be suspicious in nature, but they are still investigating. Right now, Madison police are investigating a shots fired call on the city's southwest side. It happened in the middle of the afternoon Sunday. Officials say someone fired at a car after an argument near Prairie and Hammersley Roads, just east of Elver Park. News 3 Now crews saw officers knocking on doors during the early stages of the investigation. Police confirmed to us no one was injured and say there is no current threat to the public. President Trump's plan to send more federal troops into Portland, Oregon has been halted. A Trump-appointed judge ruled the president tried to defy a court order by moving troops from California and Texas. The president authorized the troops to protect what he calls a war-ravaged city. Portland's mayor and Oregon's governor insist the city is safe. Over the weekend, protesters clashed with federal agents outside an ICE facility. White House aide Stephen Miller called the protest, quote, violent armed resistance designed to incapacitate essential operations, end quote. Well, it is now day 6 of the government shutdown, and the Senate, which took the weekend off, is coming back to Washington for votes late this afternoon. Some furloughed federal workers will miss out on their first paycheck this week, and now they face the threat of layoffs. Here's Natalie Brand.
Senators are returning to Capitol Hill with little optimism for a breakthrough.
Well, there's not a lot to negotiate, Maria. It's the Democrats just need to open up the government. Right now, we're at a stalemate. They've now voted 4 times.
Majority Leader John Thune says lawmakers later today will take up the same dueling spending measures that failed multiple times last week.
The motion upon reconsideration is not agreed to.
Democratic leaders fault Republicans for not negotiating as they push for extending enhanced health care tax credits.
We've been trying for months and months to sit down with them and have a serious conversation addressing America's health care needs. And they've refused and refused and refused.
The White House and Republican leaders insist Democrats reopen the government first before tackling health care. If negotiations remain at a standstill, President Trump says he's prepared to move forward with mass layoffs.
Taking place right now, and it's all because of the Democrats. The Democrats are causing the loss of a lot of jobs with their it's a shutdown. It's their shutdown, not our shutdown. It's their shutdown.
But a new CBS News poll shows neither side is looking good to the American public. 39% blame President Trump and congressional Republicans for the shutdown. 30% blame Democrats, and 31% blame both equally. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
The CBS News poll also shows President Trump's approval rating dropped 2 percentage points among those surveyed to 42%. That's down from 44% in September. On the Health Watch this afternoon, UW Health is opening up their COVID vaccine appointments today. All you have to do to get your appointment is call one of their clinics directly. You can also schedule an appointment through MyChart. Those who already have a flu vaccine scheduled with UW Health can also ask if they can get their COVID shot during that appointment. UW Health recommends everyone over the age of 6 months to get that vaccine. Now, first check of your first warm forecast. Here's meteorologist Jacob Montesano. Feeling those changes out there today, Jacob.
Yeah, it actually feels like it's supposed to this time of the year. We're seeing these fall-like temperatures, but not necessarily for everyone. Right now, we're in the lower 60s in Madison. upper 50s for areas further north and west, but southeast Wisconsin has yet to really see that cold front move through. Still seeing the 70s right now for those locations. Now, pretty much everybody's seeing a pretty drastic temperature change compared to 24 hours ago, especially for those areas further north and west. And this temperature change is likely going to continue to grow because the temperatures aren't really going to change much throughout the day. And obviously yesterday they continued to rise, up near 20 degrees colder for some areas. Now, as we take a look at the temperatures later in the afternoon, again, not really going to change for Madison and areas to the northwest. Places to the south and east will actually see them cool down a little bit. And then tomorrow we'll see much more universal temperatures across the board. Also seeing some showers right now, nothing too heavy, but you can see some heavier rain further to the southwest across Iowa. And throughout the day, we're just going to see the chance of a few on and off showers. Not really going to see a whole lot of rain today, but at any point in the day, you could see a light sprinkle. Once we get to the overnight hours, we'll see a little bit more consistent rain. Still nothing too heavy, but the chance of rain will be a little bit greater, especially for Madison and areas to the south. But this is looking like it will clear out by the time we get to sunrise on Tuesday. So I'll talk more in detail about the rest of the week, but it's going to continue to be pretty fall-like. The details, though, coming up a bit later.
All right, Jacob, thank you. The city of Madison has announced its fall yard waste and leaf pickup. Crews collect leaves, weeds, pumpkins, and other plant debris, but not brush, so keep those piles separate. Residents should set out leaves on Sundays to ensure pickup during the week. Every home gets 3 guaranteed curbside pickups, but dates vary by neighborhood. Check the City of Madison Yard Waste website or call the Streets Division to see your set-out dates. Officials say to place yard waste at the edge of the street at least 4 feet from trees, cars, utility poles, and other obstructions. Do not place leaves or yard waste in trash or recycling carts. Still ahead for us on News 3 Now at noon. If you have a question or concern about your plants or garden, now is the time to send us your questions via email to tips@channel3000.com. Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company will join us later in the broadcast with the answers. But first, after the break, what films came out on top of the weekend box office, plus why millions of pounds of chicken corn dogs are being recalled.
The federal government shutdown hits day 6. A new CBS News poll shows many Americans are concerned about its effect on the economy. 49% say they're very concerned, while another 31% say they're somewhat concerned. This as those surveyed say the most important issues facing the country right now are the economy and jobs and inflation. A majority of respondents said they disapprove of the way President Trump, congressional Republicans, and Democrats in Congress have handled the shutdown. Nearly 4 million pounds of Foster Farms chicken corn dogs have been recalled because the batter may contain wood pieces. The USDA says there have been multiple consumer complaints and at least 5 injuries reported. The corn dogs were distributed to retail and government programs like the Defense Department and may have been purchased by some school lunch programs. Consumers should throw away the recalled product or return it to the place of purchase. And Taylor Swift's the official release party of a Showgirl film, which coincides with her latest album release, debuted atop the box office with an estimated $33 million in North America. One battle after another slipped to second this week, taking in $11 million. And biopic The Smashing Machine was third, earning an estimated $6 million. That's your CBS News Money Watch report. For more, log on to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the CBS Broadcast Center, I'm Jesse Mitchell.
Here's a look at the current stock numbers at the noon hour. The Dow's down 106 points, NASDAQ up 155, and the S&P 500 up 25 this hour. Our call for action volunteers are in the building taking your consumer complaints and taking action on your behalf. Call for action at 608-270-2833. Or remember, you can submit a claim anytime at channel3000.com/call for action. Pam has today's farm numbers up next, and Jacob is tracking the first warn forecast. And later on Live at 4, one family in the 608 is going all out for spooky season. I'll show you why it's become a Halloween tradition. Welcome back. Let's check in now with Pam Yankee for the Midwest Farm Report. Hi, Pam.
Oh, Josh, good to be back along with you. It was a long week last week at World Dairy Expo, but a great week at that. Let me share a couple of the details from the Friday evening wrap-up, actually late afternoon. That's when they named the Supreme Champions of the show, and boy, did Wisconsin do well. Take a look at this beautiful Holstein. She comes from Whitewater, and she is the Supreme Champion of the Junior Show. This beautiful Holstein exhibited by Tessa and Stella Schmacher from Whitewater, the Junior Show Supreme Champion. And I want to thank Bullvine for those beautiful pictures. I just thought it really captures the emotion that these exhibitors feel. This is like the gold medal. This is the pinnacle. This is the Mount Everest when it comes to the dairy show. And when Wisconsin has such beautiful animals, you just can't help but celebrate with them. And then the Supreme Champion. This would be the big one, the granddaddy, the big one. And that also from Wisconsin, a beautiful red and white Holstein, Golden Oaks Temptress Red ET, exhibited by Jim Ostrom right there from Milk Source, along with partners Lori Fisher, Steincrest, and Crescent Mead out of Kaukauna. Just an absolutely glorious day. And like I said, I appreciate Bullvine for the pictures because you just see the emotion and what's going on there. Emotion is exactly what's going on as we continue to build for proposed fee increases that will impact all livestock producers in Wisconsin and ultimately consumers. Reminding you, you must get your comments in by October 14th to the Department of Ag, Trade, and Consumer Protection. I just talked to Senator Pat Teston, and he said their hands are tied after a recent Supreme Court ruling that does not force any of our agencies to interact with the state legislature when they want to make changes like these fee increases. So it is on you, producers. It is on you, livestock truckers, livestock yard owners. You have got to speak directly to Department of Ag, Trade, and Consumer Protection because, unfortunately, your elected officials are basically left powerless. They, again, taking those comments until October 15th. I do also want to give a shout out to some of our other Wisconsin folks that did very well. Congratulations to Bud John Farms and Peter Vale up in Lamira, Cadence Farms down in, I believe, Greene County, and also Leela Schuler and Brittany Taylor from Wisconsin. They also were in the Supreme Champion running at World Dairy Expo. Nothing running as far as dairy markets are concerned today. Barrel cheese stand still at $1.77. 40-pound block cheese is down 4 at $1.75. The AA butter full 5.5 cents lower after a pretty good rally on Friday last week, $1.69.5 per pound. But I'll tell you, beautiful bovines abounded at World Dairy Expo. I love to see the show coming, Josh, but I'm just as happy to see it leave. Getting back to my normal pace here on the Noon Show. Yeah, time to rest up. What a great week for sure, Pam. Thank you so much for sharing. We appreciate it. Time now for your certified most accurate forecast in Madison. Here's First Four meteorologist Jacob Montesano. Hi, Jacob.
Hey, Josh, as we take a look at the 3 things you need to know, we're going to continue to see some light showers through the overnight hours. And then we're also going to continue to see those seasonable temperatures even after the rain clears out and the sun comes up. Once we get to the weekend, though, we will see the temperatures warming up a bit with highs back in the 70s. But for reference, this past weekend, we had highs in the 80s, so it's still going to be cooler than this past weekend. Now, as we take a look at the current radar, seeing just a few light showers across our area, a little bit more moderate rain further to the southwest in Iowa, but even that rain, not going to be a big issue. We definitely need the rainfall, so considering that any rain that we do get will certainly be a welcoming sign for us, especially considering that there's almost no chance of storms, let alone severe weather. Now, the better chance of rain will be during the overnight hours, at least for Madison and areas to the south, as more consistent shower activity does roll through. And this is expected to clear up by the time we get to sunrise Tuesday, and then skies will become clear by the time we get to the afternoon Tuesday. But temperatures are going to remain what they are right now, so we're going to continue to see those fall-like conditions. Now, looking at the rain chances beyond today into tonight, really not going to see a whole lot. Small chance Thursday night, a little bit of a chance over the weekend, but it is going to be pretty dry for the rest of the week with some more rain chances once we get to next week. Now, as we take a look at the temperatures, again, for areas to the south and east that are seeing temperatures in the 70s right now, you folks are going to see those temperatures fall throughout the day into the middle and upper 60s. Madison and areas to the north and west going to see temperatures very consistent throughout the rest of the day before we do fall back into the 50s overnight, with some areas dropping into the 40s, maybe even lower 40s for places further north in central Wisconsin. Now, for Tuesday, we'll see sunshine in the afternoon, But those temperatures are going to stay similar to today, middle 60s for highs. This is very, very close to where we're supposed to be for this time of the year. I know you may, the warm weather lately has made a lot of us probably think that it's, supposed to be a little bit warmer, but these are what we're supposed to be for this time of the year. It's just those 80s this past week has been extremely above normal. Now, looking at the high temperature trend, again, 70s are expected to return over the weekend, but still cooler than the last week. And we also are expecting the dry conditions to continue for the most part over the weekend. Might see some rain, but after that, when we have a better chance of rain once we get to next work week, and that does look like it will cool the temperatures down again. Now, it finally feels like fall. Here's an updated look at the fall color report. Near peak levels for most of northern Wisconsin. Still not really seeing a lot of color change in southern Wisconsin, but these cool temperatures I do expect to see create some very quick changes, especially some of the overnight lows that are expected later in the week, where we could see some 30s Tuesday night and Wednesday night. So the temperatures finally feeling like where they're supposed to be. And with the cooler temperatures, it will eventually start looking like it's supposed to be during the fall time with those colors. I do expect to change pretty quickly with these temperatures. Again, Tuesday, Wednesday night could see those temperatures dropping into the 30s.
Yeah, that'll be chilly. All right, Jacob, thank you. Well, today, Howard's working on 2 apple recipes in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
What do you think of when you think of October? Well, for me, who grew up in upstate New York, it always meant one thing: a trip to the orchards. There we would pick baskets of apples, go on a hayride, and before we left, we always got a cup of hot mulled cider and some freshly made apple fritters. Those trips were some of my best memories as a kid. So today, I'm gonna recreate those recipes so I can share those memories with you. We begin by peeling and coring a few apples, and instead of cutting them into chunks, we're gonna cut them into round slices, like this. Now we dip these in a traditional fritter batter, which is simply some flour, a bit of sugar, baking powder, milk, and an egg. The key to these is to dip them one slice at a time, then carefully put them into hot oil. That way, they won't stick together. After a minute or two, flip them so they get golden brown on both sides before draining them on paper towels. Now, finish them off with lots of powdered sugar and serve them up with hot mulled cider topped with whipped cream and drizzled with caramel, just like I had growing up. Both recipes for the apple fritters and the spiced caramel apple cider are online now, so you can share my memories of apple season in a really sweet way. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where every day we're looking for more memorable ways for you to say, "Ooh, it's so good."
Ahead at noon, Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company is here answering your plant and gardening questions. Email them to tips@channel3000.com. We'll get the answers next. Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company is here answering your plant and gardening questions. Email them to tips@channel3000.com. Hi, Lisa.
Hello.
Fall is finally here.
It seems like it.
It seems like it. Yeah, you can notice a difference already outside.
Yes. So everybody, you should bring in your house plants if
It's
they're
time.
still outside. It is time.
Yep, we're seeing that transition. Let's get to the questions here this afternoon. We're going to start with Lori. Lori wants to know if she should cut her hostas this fall or what should be done with them.
Yeah, go ahead and cut back your hosta, your peonies, your phlox, any of your perennials. We're going to get some cold weather the next couple nights, and they've got all their growing in. You can just put the stuff in your compost unless you've had some disease issues. So say you had powdery mildew on your peonies, or you had some leaf spots on something. Put that out for the city to take, or take it to your municipality's compost pile. Those piles will get hot enough to kill the fungal spores, where the one that you may or may not have in your backyard is not going to do that.
Like a hosta, how much should you cut that down?
You can cut your perennials back all the way to the ground. They're going to come back new from the ground anyway. Things like butterfly bush or caryopteris, or if you have hydrangeas in there, you'll just trim those back so that you leave, 6 or 8 inches of growth for next year to see what happens.
All right, let's get to the next question. Terry asks, is it too early to bring in her hibiscus plant or bush this fall?
Yes, so if you've got hardy hibiscus, Terry, and they're outside, you need to bring them in. If you've got any house plants outside, you need to bring them in. You have a day and a half to treat them for insects if you haven't done that yet, because you really should do that before you bring them inside. So spray them down with an insecticide ready to use that is good for houseplants, and then treat the soil in case there are any insect eggs or something in the soil. A tiny problem outside turns into a really big problem in the house once you bring them in. So you don't want that.
We do not want that.
You do not want that.
Transition week.
Absolutely.
A little later this year than normal, but
a little later than normal, but winter is coming.
It is. Lisa, thank you so much for your help today. We appreciate it. Let's go to Jacob now for a final check of that forecast.
Yeah, it's going to be very fall-like this week. The temperatures that we're seeing right now, for the most part, they're going to continue for all of this week. We will start to see them warm back up over the weekend, but before then, not only will the daytime highs only be in the 60s, but some overnight lows will be dropping into the 30s. And after the rain this afternoon through tonight, we're also looking fairly dry for the rest of the week.
All right, Jacob, thank you. Thanks for watching News 3 Now at noon. Coming up next is The Bold and the Beautiful. Our next newscast is live at 4. And a reminder, you can always find us streaming 24/7 on Channel 3000+. Make it a great day. We'll see you back here tomorrow.